When it comes to building a healthy romantic relationship, the very first thing you've got to understand is this: communication isn't just talking, and it isn't just hearing. It's understanding. It's giving your partner a safe space where they feel like their words matter, like their feelings matter, like they matter. And most people think they're already good at it because they talk every day, right? They text, they call, they share little things about their day. But here's the truth: talking doesn't mean connecting. And hearing doesn't always mean listening. Real communication is deeper than that. Think about the last time you were upset with someone you love. What did you really want in that moment? Did you want them to fix everything? Or did you just want them to sit with you, hear you out, and actually care about what you were saying? Most of the time, what we want in a relationship isn't a solution, it's understanding. And understanding comes from listening with intention, not listening to respond. Too many couples fall into this trap where conversations turn into debates. One person shares how they feel, and the other immediately jumps in with a defense, an excuse, or a counterpoint. That's not communication, that's a competition. And if love starts to feel like a competition, where one person has to win and the other has to lose, you've already both lost. Healthy communication isn't about who's right, it's about what's real. And here's where it gets powerful. When you create a relationship where your partner feels safe enough to be honest, even with the hard stuff, even with the things that are uncomfortable, you've just built the kind of connection most people dream about. Because honesty thrives in safety, not in fear. If your partner knows they can tell you how they feel without you shutting them down, mocking them, or exploding in anger, that honesty will grow into trust. And trust is the oxygen of love. Without it, the relationship suffocates. But let's be real, communication isn't easy. It takes discipline. It takes humility. It takes you being willing to put your pride aside long enough to say, you know what? Maybe I don't have to win this conversation. Maybe I just need to hear the person I love. And when you do that, when you actually listen, not with your ears only, but with your heart, you stop hearing just the words and start feeling the meaning behind them. You'll notice the tone of their voice. You'll catch the hesitation in their silence. You'll start to understand what they need, even when they can't fully put it into words. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine trying to build a relationship where every time you speak, you feel dismissed. Every time you express a feeling, it gets minimized. Every time you ask for something, you feel like you're being too much. You'd stop talking, wouldn't you? You'd stop sharing, and silence in a relationship isn't peace. It's distance. When two people stop communicating, they don't stop caring instantly, but the distance grows, the connection weakens, and before long, they're strangers living under the same roof. That's why communication is not just important, it's urgent. It's the lifeline of love. And it's not about being perfect with your words either. You don't have to always know the right thing to say. Sometimes the most powerful communication is just saying, I don't know how to fix this, but I'm here. I hear you. I'm with you. That simple act of presence, that willingness to listen and hold space, can heal more than 1,000 solutions ever could. So if you want to build a healthy romantic relationship, start here. Start with communication that is real, honest, and safe. Be the person your partner feels comfortable being vulnerable with. And don't just wait for your turn to talk. Lean in, pay attention, and let them know you value their words. Because when communication thrives, love has room to grow. And when communication dies, love has nowhere to go. One of the biggest mistakes people make in relationships is thinking that just being around their partner is enough. You can be in the same room, sitting on the same couch, even sharing the same meal, and still feel miles apart. Because presence isn't about being physically there. It's about being emotionally there. It's about showing up with your mind, your heart, and your attention fully engaged. Think about it. How many times have you seen couples at a restaurant sitting across from each other, both glued to their phones? They're technically together, but they're not with each other. They're sharing space, but not connection. And in a healthy relationship, connection is what keeps the love alive. When you're emotionally present, you're not just hearing words, you're tuned into your partner's emotions, their energy, their mood. You notice when something feels off. You sense when they're holding back. You catch the little details that someone who's distracted would never see. And that matters because emotional presence is what tells your partner you're important. You're worth my full attention. You're not just another part of my day. You are my day. And here's the truth. Being emotionally present takes effort. It requires you to put the phone down, close the laptop, turn off the TV, and give your partner something we all crave but rarely get: undivided attention. You see, love isn't about how much time you spend together. It's about the quality of the time. 10 minutes of genuine presence where you're fully tuned in can mean more than hours of sitting side by side without really connecting. Think back to a moment when someone gave you their full attention. They weren't rushing you. They weren't distracted. They weren't thinking about what to say next. They were just there with you fully. Didn't that make you feel valued? Didn't that make you feel seen? That's the power of presence. And in a relationship, that kind of presence is magnetic. It pulls you closer. It strengthens your bond. It makes your partner feel like they matter, not just to your routine, but to your heart. Now, here's the challenge. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Notifications buzzing, emails piling up, work deadlines pressing in, social media constantly grabbing at our attention. It's easy to give your partner the leftovers of your time and energy, but a healthy relationship doesn't grow in leftovers. It grows when you feed it with your best. And your best starts with attention. And let me say this, being emotionally present doesn't always mean big conversations. Sometimes it's in the quiet moments. Sitting together in silence, holding hands, watching the sunset, laughing at something silly. That's presence too. It's not always about fixing, solving, or planning. Sometimes it's just about being. And that kind of presence tells your partner, you don't have to perform to earn my attention. You don't have to do anything special. I love you enough to simply be with you. But when you're absent, when you're distracted, detached, or too busy, it sends another message. You're not my priority right now. And over time, those small absences add up. They create gaps, little cracks in the foundation of the relationship. And if those cracks go unnoticed, one day you'll wake up and realize there's a distance between you and the person you love that you didn't even see forming. That's why emotional presence is non-negotiable. It's the way you water the relationship so it doesn't dry out. It's the way you remind your partner they matter, not just when it's convenient, but always. It's the way you turn ordinary moments into meaningful ones. So the next time you're with your partner, check yourself. Are you truly there, or is your mind somewhere else? Are you listening, or are you just waiting to speak? Are you noticing their feelings, or are you too caught up in your own? Because love doesn't grow in absence, it grows in attention. And here's the beauty of it. When you practice emotional presence, you don't just give your partner a gift, you give yourself one too. Because the more present you are, the more you experience the relationship in its fullness. You start to notice the little things you once took for granted. The way they smile, the way they laugh, the way they light up when they talk about something they love. Those details are the soul of the relationship. And when you pay attention to them, you not only strengthen your bond, you fall in love all over again. So don't just be there. Be there. Not halfway, not distracted, not 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Fully, completely. With your heart wide open and your attention undivided. Because love is not about how many hours you spend together. It's about how deeply you show up for the ones you love. One of the biggest misconceptions people have about relationships is that you have to give up your individuality to make it work. Somewhere along the way, we started believing that love means becoming one person, doing everything together, thinking the same, moving in lockstep. But here's the truth. Healthy love isn't about losing yourself. It's about finding the balance between me and we. Because when you give up your individuality, when you erase your independence, you don't actually build closeness. You build dependency. And dependency isn't love, it's control. Think about it like this: 2 strong trees standing side by side. Each has its own roots, its own strength, its own growth. But because they're close, their branches intertwine, and together they create a shade that's bigger and stronger than either tree could provide alone. That's what a healthy relationship should feel like. 2 people standing firmly in who they are while choosing to grow together. But too often, couples swing to the extremes. Some lean so hard into independence that they become distant, living parallel lives under the same roof, barely touching each other's hearts. Others lean so hard into togetherness that they suffocate each other, needing constant validation, constant approval, constant attention. And neither extreme works. The sweet spot is the balance, where independence fuels growth and togetherness fuels connection. So what does that look like? It looks like supporting each other's passions, even when they don't involve you. It looks like encouraging your partner to chase their dreams, to have friendships, to pursue hobbies, to keep nurturing the things that make them who they are. Because when your partner thrives as an individual, they bring a better version of themselves back to the relationship. Their growth becomes your growth, too. At the same time, it looks like intentionally creating moments of togetherness that deepen your bond. Date nights, long conversations, shared goals, laughter, even tackling challenges side by side. Togetherness is the glue, independence is the strength. And you need both. Without togetherness, you drift apart. Without independence, you lose yourself. And let's be real. Finding this balance takes maturity. It takes security. It takes the confidence to say, I love you enough to let you be you. I don't need to control every detail of your life because I trust you and I trust us. And it also takes the humility to say, even though I love my freedom, I choose to invest time and energy into us because this bond matters more than my comfort. Now, here's where a lot of couples struggle. They confuse independence with distance. They think taking space means pulling away when really it means breathing room. Every person needs room to breathe, to grow, to explore their own identity. And when that space is respected, love doesn't fade, it flourishes. Because instead of clinging in fear, you're connecting in freedom. On the flip side, some people confuse togetherness with control. They think love means monitoring every move, needing constant updates, demanding constant proof. That's not closeness, that's insecurity. True togetherness doesn't demand, it invites. It says, I want you here, but I don't need to chain you here. And that kind of love creates safety. Think of the relationships you admire most, the ones that last decades, the ones that still shine with joy and intimacy. You'll notice those couples know how to balance it. They spend time together, yes, but they also cheer each other on individually. They're partners, not prisoners. Teammates, not shadows. And that's what makes their love sustainable. Because here's the secret: when you both stand strong as individuals, your togetherness becomes stronger. You don't show up empty, looking for the other person to fill your gaps. You show up whole, ready to give, ready to share. And that creates a relationship where two complete people choose to walk together, not because they have to, but because they want to. So if you want a healthy romantic relationship, ask yourself, am I holding too tightly or am I holding too loosely? Am I respecting my partner's individuality while also investing in our bond? Am I showing up as a whole person, or am I expecting them to complete me? Because the healthiest love is not two halves making a whole, it's two wholes making something even greater together. When you balance independence with togetherness, you don't just survive in love, you thrive. You get the best of both worlds, the freedom to grow as yourself and the joy of growing alongside someone who loves you for exactly who you are. And that balance, that dance between me and we, is what makes a relationship not just last, but last beautifully. Every relationship, no matter how strong, is going to face conflict. It's inevitable. Two people with different personalities, different experiences, different ways of seeing the world, of course you're going to disagree. That's not the problem. The real question is, how do you handle it when the conflict comes? Because conflict doesn't destroy relationships, ego does. See, the moment you start treating an argument like a battle to win instead of a problem to solve, you've already shifted the focus away from love and into pride. And pride is poison in a relationship. Pride says, I need to be right, even if it means you feel wrong. Pride says, my voice matters more than yours. And if that's the way you fight, you might win the argument, but you'll lose the connection. And what good is being right if the person you love feels small, unheard, or unloved? Respect during conflict doesn't mean you agree on everything. It doesn't mean you back down or swallow your feelings just to keep the peace. It means you choose to value the person even when you don't value their opinion in that moment. It means you can disagree without disrespect. You can express frustration without tearing the other person down. You can fight for the relationship instead of against each other. And let's be honest, most of us learned how to fight the wrong way. We mimic what we saw growing up, or we let our emotions take the wheel. So when we're angry, we raise our voices, we say things we don't mean, we throw words like knives. And those words can cut deep. You can apologize later, sure, but the scar remains. That's why respect is so crucial, because once trust is broken in the way you fight, it's hard to repair. Imagine this: instead of attacking each other, you attack the problem together. Instead of saying, you always do this, or you never listen, you shift the language to, here's how I feel, and here's what I need. Do you see the difference? One puts your partner on defense. The other invites them to understand. Respectful conflict is about lowering the walls, not building them higher. And here's another piece. Sometimes it's not about winning the fight in that moment. It's about pausing long enough to let love speak louder than anger. Walking away when you need to cool down isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's saying, I care more about us than I do about being right in this moment. And when you come back with a calm heart, you can actually solve the issue instead of just hurting each other. But what makes this so hard is the ego. Ego wants control. Ego wants the last word. Ego wants to remind your partner of every mistake they've ever made. And if you let ego run the fight, you'll always end up further apart. Respect, on the other hand, invites humility. It allows you to admit when you're wrong. It allows you to say, I didn't handle that the right way, and I'm sorry. And let me tell you, apologizing doesn't make you weak, it makes you trustworthy. Because trust doesn't come from perfection, it comes from honesty and repair. The couples who last aren't the ones who never fight. They're the ones who learn how to fight well. They understand that conflict is an opportunity to grow closer, to understand each other better, to strengthen the bond. When you resolve conflicts with respect, even the hard conversations become bridges instead of walls. So the next time conflict shows up, and it will, check yourself. Are you fighting to be right, or are you fighting to be understood? Are you listening to reply, or are you listening to connect? Are you letting anger lead, or are you letting love have the final word? Because in a healthy relationship, the goal isn't to win against your partner, it's to win with your partner. Love doesn't mean avoiding fights. Love means learning how to fight without destroying each other. And when you can master that, when respect outweighs ego, you turn conflict from something that divides you into something that strengthens the foundation you're building together. So don't aim to win the argument. Aim to protect the relationship. Because at the end of the day, being right will never feel as good as being loved. If you really want to know what keeps a relationship alive, not just surviving, but thriving, it's not the big vacations. It's not the fancy gifts. It's not the social media posts. Those things are nice, but they're not the glue. What keeps love strong are the small, consistent acts of appreciation and affection. The daily reminders that say, I see you. I value you. I don't take you for granted. Because here's the truth. Love doesn't usually die from big explosions. It dies slowly from neglect, from the little things we stop doing once we get comfortable. In the beginning, we compliment often. We say, thank you for the smallest gestures. We send sweet messages just to let them know they're on our mind. But over time, comfort creeps in, and what once felt like effort becomes routine. We stop noticing, we stop appreciating, and slowly the other person starts to feel invisible. But appreciation is oxygen in a relationship. It breathes life into love. It takes ordinary days and makes them meaningful. And it doesn't take much, a smile, a thank you, a gentle touch on the shoulder, a quick kiss before leaving the house. These small things whisper, you matter to me. And those whispers, repeated daily, speak louder than any grand gesture shouted once in a while. Affection works the same way. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. It's the hug when they're stressed, the hand you hold when you're walking together, the way you lean in just to be close. These things may seem small, but they add up to something powerful. Because affection says what words sometimes can't. I love you, and I'm here. Now, here's the catch. Affection and appreciation aren't one size fits all. What makes one person feel valued might not mean as much to another. Some people light up when they hear words of encouragement. Others feel most loved when you show up with actions, when you do something thoughtful for them. Some need physical touch. Some need quality time. Some just need to feel noticed. That's why paying attention matters. Because when you learn what speaks to your partner's heart, your appreciation becomes personal, not generic. And listen, this isn't about being perfect or keeping score. It's not about saying, well, I did this for you, so you owe me. That's not love. That's a transaction. Real appreciation doesn't expect something back. It's about freely giving recognition because you genuinely see the value in your partner. Think about it. When was the last time you heard the words, I appreciate you? Didn't it make you stand a little taller? Didn't it make you feel noticed, valued, even loved? Now imagine your partner feels that from you every single day. Imagine the strength that builds in the bond. Because the opposite is just as true. When appreciation is missing, when affection is rare, love feels empty. No one thrives where they feel taken for granted. Sometimes we think, they already know I love them. I don't need to say it all the time. But that's not how it works. Love unspoken fades. Affection withheld feels like rejection. Appreciation unsaid leaves a gap. You wouldn't water a plant once and expect it to last forever. You keep watering it consistently. Why would love be any different? Consistency is the secret. Anybody can show appreciation once in a while. Anybody can be affectionate when the mood strikes. But love grows strongest when those things happen daily, even in small ways, even when life is busy. It's the consistency that builds security. It's the consistency that builds trust. It's the consistency that makes your partner feel, I don't just matter when it's convenient. I matter always. So if you want a healthier romantic relationship, don't wait for anniversaries or holidays to show love. Do it today. Do it in the little things. Look them in the eye and say, thank you for being you. Reach for their hand without needing a reason. Notice what they do and let them know you see it. Because when you keep love alive in the small moments, the big moments take care of themselves. At the end of the day, people don't remember every word you say, but they remember how you made them feel. Make your partner feel valued. Make them feel seen. Make them feel loved consistently, intentionally, wholeheartedly. Because love doesn't stay strong on its own. Love stays strong when you keep choosing every single day to appreciate and to show affection. And that choice, that daily, intentional choice, is what turns ordinary relationships into extraordinary ones. Would you like me to carry this energy forward into key point 6? Build a foundation of trust through actions, not just words. So your whole speech concludes with a powerful, memorable impact. If there's one thing every healthy relationship is built on, it's trust. Without trust, nothing else works. Communication becomes shaky. Presence feels empty. Appreciation doesn't land the same way. Even love itself starts to feel uncertain. Trust is the foundation, and if the foundation cracks, everything you've built on top of it begins to wobble. Now, here's the mistake so many people make. They think trust is built by what they say. They think as long as they're saying, you can trust me, or I would never hurt you, that's enough. But trust doesn't live in words. It lives in actions. You can say, I love you 100 times a day, but if your actions don't reflect it, those words lose their power. Trust isn't what you promise. Trust is what you prove. Think about it. If someone tells you they'll be there at 6, but they show up at 8, how much weight do their words really carry next time? If someone says, I'll change, I'll do better, but keeps repeating the same behavior, how long before you stop believing them? It's not that the words are wrong. It's that the actions don't match. And every time words and actions don't align, a piece of trust erodes. But when actions and words do align, when your behavior backs up your promises, something powerful happens. Your partner begins to feel safe, and safety is what allows vulnerability to grow. They don't have to wonder if you'll show up because you've proven that you will. They don't have to second guess your intentions because your consistency speaks louder than your explanations. That's how trust is built, not all at once, but brick by brick, moment by moment, choice by choice. And here's the thing, building trust isn't about being perfect. Nobody gets it right every time. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to miss the mark. But what matters is how you handle it when you do. Do you own it? Do you take responsibility? Do you repair the damage with action, not just apology? Because saying, "I'm sorry," without changing the behavior is just another empty promise. Real trust grows when your actions prove you mean it. Let me give you an example. If you say you'll listen, then really listen, without scrolling through your phone, without cutting them off, without minimizing their feelings. If you say you'll be supportive, then show up at the hard times, at the little moments, not just when it's convenient. If you say you're committed, then act like it. Choose them daily, respect the boundaries, stay loyal even when temptation tries to pull you away. Those actions, repeated over and over, create a sense of security that no amount of words alone can give. Now, here's where it gets even deeper. Trust isn't just about honesty, it's about consistency. Anybody can show up once. Anybody can do the right thing once. But trust is built when your partner can rely on you time after time, day after day. It's the consistency that says, "I don't just love you when it's easy. I love you always." And that kind of dependability, that kind of steady presence is priceless in a relationship. Because when trust is strong, everything else flows easier. Communication opens up because neither of you fears being judged or betrayed. Presence feels natural because you're not distracted by suspicion. Appreciation feels sincere because you believe in each other's hearts. And affection deepens because you're not holding back in fear. Trust unlocks intimacy at every level. But when trust is broken, it doesn't just disappear. It creates walls. Suddenly, every conversation feels heavier. Every absence feels suspicious. Every promise feels shaky. And rebuilding that trust isn't quick. It isn't easy, but it is possible. And it starts, again, with actions. Show up. Be consistent. Align your behavior with your words until your partner can believe in you again. So if you want to build a healthy romantic relationship, don't just talk about trust, live it. Don't just make promises, keep them. Don't just say the right things, do the right things. Because love that lives only in words fades fast. But love backed by actions builds a foundation strong enough to weather anything life throws at it. At the end of the day, what makes your partner believe in you is not how well you talk, but how well you walk. Trust isn't built in the moments you speak. It's built in the moments you